Come in. Hey, Mr. Ramirez, how's it going?
Good, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. All right, so let's get started. I know you're here for a scheduled counseling visit. Let me pull up your information really quickly, okay? All right, so let's just get started with a few questions, and then we can build from there. What would you like to know?
Okay, well, I've had type 1 diabetes, and I have type 1 diabetes, and this is the first time that, I've seeked out help besides when I was little with my parents. I know I have to inject insulin every day, and the doctor says that as long as I do that, I'll be okay, and there can be a way to help. But is there like a way to help myself through the food or what I intake? Like, what can I eat or things I should, like?
Yeah, no, okay. Well, that's a very good question. Thank you for coming in. So, actually, contrary to what many believe, you can eat anything that a person not diagnosed with type 1 diabetes can. And it's really just depends on how you go about it. And this may be a surprise due to advancements in the availability of methods of treatments of insulin, whereas, for example, like the do's and don'ts of diabetes. But that no longer will define like how you live your life having to go with type 1 diabetes. So the way to go today is to attempt to fit both the diabetes and the insulin around a balanced, healthy diet, recommended for most individuals with many fruits and vegetables involved. The main concern is your lifestyle as an athlete coupled with this condition, not so much just the type 1 diabetes.
Okay, I think I understand. But what do you mean as my lifestyle as an athlete? Isn't being an athlete supposed to make me healthier with my diabetes? I mean, that's what everyone around me has said for most of my life, that, the more I work out, the better it is for me.
Yeah, definitely. So it definitely does. Being active helps with your condition and helps in avoiding many of the typical issues that come along with type 1 diabetes. So what we are concerned about is actually your level of activity, the dosage of insulin you take for that day, and then also the food that you intake.
Why those three? Do they affect each other or something like that, or
they
all play together?
Actually, they all do really. So your blood sugar is controlled by the insulin you inject, every day, and also controlling the carbohydrates that you intake. If you were to not inject insulin for the day, as well as not participate in physical activity, and eat foods filled with carbohydrates, then your blood sugar would be very elevated. However, on the other end of the spectrum, if you were to inject insulin and participate in strenuous activity, then your blood sugar might actually drop a lot lower than what it should be. And then that can be problematic, just as the way it could be too high, it can also be more problematic actually being too low.
Oh, I did not know that. That's very interesting. Oh, okay, so, I believe I'm understanding what you're saying. So now we both know I'm a collegiate athlete, so I work out just about every single day for my sport. But what if I was not work out one day? Would my blood sugar be too high since I'm not working out, or is it because since I didn't burn any carbohydrates, or is there a way for me to control that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Let me give you a little bit more information on that. And I'm actually glad that you asked that, because that's exactly where we're headed next. For example, for a day you were to not work out, you would want to lower your carbohydrate intake, as opposed to a day that you would have a lot of energy expenditure during your normal practice season. The doctor as well should have provided you with an alternative dosage for such a case, because again, if your insulin is too high and your carbohydrates are too low, then you can run a risk of developing issues.
So as long as my insulin is dosed properly and I intake my carbohydrates according to how I'm going to work out that day, what I'm perceived to work out, I should be okay?
Essentially, yes, that is the case. But there are foods that are more suitable to accomplishing your goals as opposed to other counterparts, for example.
So do you have an example which foods would be good for that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I could give you some examples. Just something simple, very quickly. For breakfast, a bowl of whole grain cereal with semi-skimmed milk, eggs, and yogurt, or perhaps a fruit would be good. After that, going into lunch, a small turkey pasta salad with maybe a soup, a bread roll if you'd like, since you're an athlete, you need that extra energy. And then again, fruit or yogurt. You can alternate those however you'd like. For dinner, something a little bit more hearty, a beef stir fry with vegetables and rice, salmon and noodles, or even chicken corn tortillas with a salad. This provides you all the the balanced diet that you need, your proteins, your carbohydrates, and your fats as well. And being an athlete, you will need all of that. So remember, this plan will give you all the recommended intake you need for your age and for your condition, and also for being an athlete. just remember that never force yourself to eat. Food intake will take time to digest, and that actually sends cues to your body that you're full or that you've been satisfied. If you eat too fast thinking you need to eat more because you exercise a lot, you may actually overeat, and that can cause your blood sugar to climb.
So I should eat slower.
Yeah, that would help.
Okay, so what about after I work out? I know my coaches always tell me that I should make sure to eat something right after. Like, what kind of snacks should I eat? I know they would say like maybe like a protein shake, but is there actually any solid foods?
Yeah, definitely. That's another good question too, because a lot of people supplement, but there are some good snacks that provide a small boost to your carbohydrates at the time that your body will have used up all that energy or the carbohydrates. So the most recommended choices could be like a snack. Remember, not a meal. Be maybe a piece of fruit, some rice cakes, crackers, yogurt as well. That contains some protein there for you. And if you do muscle training, which I assume that you do, a protein bar could be a nice supplementation just to inhibit the breakdown of the muscles and keep you going.
And out of all those choices, should I prefer some over the other depending on how hard I feel like I exerted myself that day or how much energy I used up?
So the moderate to intense exercise may cause your blood sugar levels to diminish for the next 24 hours after exercise, as we have been discussing, which is referred to as a lag effect. And it is advised that you monitor your blood sugar in order to avoid hypoglycemia, low blood sugar. The bar for low amount is 100 milligrams to 100 milligrams a deciliter of blood. So in this case, yeah, if you're going to be training really hard, this is just a little breakdown that I want to give you. Your blood sugar could drop too low, so you might want to get something with a little bit more carbohydrates, and then also the protein if to inhibit that breakdown. So maybe a protein bar, even like a side of fruit with it could work, or a glass of milk works as well. That's perfect.
And how would I know if my blood sugar is that low? Like besides the symptoms of the doctor what the doctor told me, how I should feel.
Yeah, definitely. So if the symptoms that you have, you'd like a little bit more, like, how can I say, definite a determinant of your glucose, you could use a glucometer, and it's sure not having one is, I'm sure that not having one has made things difficult in the past, just going off of like how you feel with the symptoms and stuff like that. But you'd be actually a lot more accurate using a glucometer rather than just going by how you feel.
Okay, so I guess I should get on purchasing one then.
If you ask the doctor, they should be able to prescribe you one. I hear that insurances sometimes cover them, especially with patients born with the conditions, such as yourself.
Type 1 diabetes.
Yeah, type 1.
Well, that's great to hear. I mean, I'll make sure to bring it up the next time I visit with him. So if my if my sugar was to drop too low, like we were discussing, how is there like a way I can prevent that from reoccurring?
Yeah, so definitely there is. We can actually start off with maybe more preventative measures. So first, I would start off with asking your coach on the day, like how hard or how intense the exercise program is going to be, and adjust your meals before practice according to the predicted intensity. So if it's going to be, very intense, very long lasting, then you would want to eat more, supplement the body with the energy that it needs. And if it's going to be more of a lighter day, stretching or just walkthroughs, then just keep it a little bit more light. And then, when you go to bed, your levels are still low, you can increase the evening snack, the snack after you practice even. You can increase that a little bit more, just depending on how much exercise you actually do.
So is there like a number I can go off for like a guideline and work from there?
Yeah, definitely. We can give you some guidelines here. Generally, 15 grams of carbohydrates and 7 grams of protein about an hour before practice is generally the baseline. If you would need a number, that's something that you can get there just to go off of.
All right, well, that's fine. I'm kind of enjoying this. Is nice. Kind of enjoying this.
Yeah, definitely. It's always good to know a little bit more. Especially like something that you have to live with every day. It's actually something that makes it easier.
Yeah, it's not as grim as I thought it'd be. I expected to come in here and not be able to eat anything.
Yeah, no, definitely that's not the case. That is a misconception. But I'm glad that you're not becoming disheartened with the situation.
So I know I have to ask this because I'm probably gonna lose like a favorite food or something. But is there anything I shouldn't eat?
So the main thing is you want to avoid the main thing you want to avoid has to do more with the liquids and your solid foods. It can be very easy to get a lot of bad drinks in, especially as an athlete. You're always like thirsty, you're always wanting to like rehydrate, and it can be easy to just kind of get anything. So that's the main thing to worry about.
And then I know sometimes like I get really thirsty, and then especially after my workouts and first thing when I wake up too.
Okay. Give me 1 second here. Well, these times your body is craving any type of hydration and salt replenishment as well. it is in your best interest to avoid any sugary drinks such as sodas or fruit juice concentrates. A lot of people, they think juices are healthy, which they do provide nutrients, but they also have a lot of sugar, and these usually spike your blood sugar very quickly as well. So it's even more crucial on days when you do not exercise to not consume these drinks. These drinks can assist you in the event that your blood sugar drops too low. Instead, it is best to drink water and sugar-free drinks, but your morning coffee, if you drink it, is still okay.
Okay, thank God. Yeah, some days I do just need that coffee,
Or me too.
Okay, so I can follow. Okay, so I can follow that. I'm glad the doctor explained to me how I feel if it was too high or too low, because without that, I feel like I'd be in a lot of trouble if I know how my body's supposed to feel.
Yeah, no, definitely, and it's good to hear that you've been well informed, of what you have to look out for.
Okay, so is there any times, like, with what I'm feeling, or maybe something, like, when any kind of thing where I just absolutely should not practice?
Well, yes, despite the benefits, there are times when your exercise needs to be avoided, and your glucometer, along with your bodily feeling, will give you cues for that. If your glucose levels are about 250 milligrams per deciliter, and ketones are present in your urine, you should not exercise, and caution should be used if your blood sugar ever reaches over 300. So that would be very high. That's definitely something to keep an eye out for. And also if you have no ketones in your urine. So any hydration from exercise can lead to a state of ketoacidosis, which would require an immediate injection of insulin for you, as well as you put your risk for low blood sugar, as we discussed.
Okay, so ketoacidosis is the reason I should always stay hydrated.
Yeah, definitely. Even because when you exercise, the dehydration can come along quicker or more quickly, so you just want to make sure that you maintain that hydration.
Okay. So I guess the whole stay hydrated thing is, actually really important.
Yeah, that's actually something that everybody gets right. Hydration is key. Even more so since we live in a hot climate, like that Texas weather.
Mm-hmm.
You'll definitely want to keep up with that. Water would be your best friend, basically, as you'll be sweating a lot.
Oh wow, that's right. I didn't even consider that. You lose water through sweat too.
Yeah, definitely. So that is definitely correct, indeed.
So what do you recommend in the long term? I mean, in general, regardless if later in my life if I stay an athlete or not.
So extra education. Education goes a long way, especially knowing the condition you have and what you can do. These are always advised in helping you manage and understand what is happening to your body. It will take time and effort, but it will pay off in the end. Consistency is also key. But with variables like in your practice and competitions, I know it can be a little bit difficult. So mainly being educated, knowing what you can do, and knowing how to adapt to different situations.
Okay, yeah, I remember what you said about adjusting my intake according to, my intake according to how hard I'm going to work.
Exactly. So I'm glad you remember that, and also a healthy, balanced diet is always recommended, whether you stay an athlete or not. So even if you only continue to be an athlete for a couple more years, you can keep that healthy, balanced diet and lifestyle throughout your whole life. Let me see. And also the food choices you make sure that you want to keep them low in saturated fats or sugars. Salt, want to keep to a minimum as well. You want to make sure that your body fat percentage, your blood is low, your blood pressure is low as well, or healthy, not low, but where it should be. And you want to always maintain a healthy weight. That'll just help you to prevent any issues in the future.
You said blood pressure and bodily fat. Like what does that have to do with type 1? Kind of with type 1 diabetes, but what does that exactly have to do with my heart? I thought it was all about the sugar.
Sugars. Yeah, definitely. That's a good question to ask. So having type 1 diabetes also means that you can run the risk of developing atherosclerosis, which is like blockage of your blood ways, and can lead to stroke, especially if it's in the stroke if your lifestyle was to be one of complete leisure and to not show discipline, like in your eating or your activity. Like for instance, let's say you stop being as active as you are, and that could be something that can develop later in the future.
Oh, that's kind of scary.
Yeah, indeed. But you're a healthy young man, and with proper guidance, this should be something that you could definitely avoid.
Yeah, I sure hope so.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you take care of yourself, you will live life to the fullest and possibly even healthier than some. So now that we have gone over these things, do you think you will be able to achieve the goal you stated to me earlier?
Yeah, I believe that after the conversation, I can assist in controlling my own blood sugar and not just depend on an injection from the insulin to do all the work for me. So that I actually feel like I have some control, not just depend on the pen every day.
Oh, okay, all right, great. So then, going back to a question that you had stated earlier, would you be worried about the days when you don't work out, or?
I mean, you know, I kind of do, so it's going to be like an unsure territory, but, you know, not too worried. I know that as long as I listen to, like, what my body's saying and control my intake as we discussed, and depending on how much I work out that day, if I work out that day, you know, I can handle them.
Okay, great. Well, that's great to hear, and I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I feel much more relieved after going over these issues with you. You know, I believe that these, you know, changes that we discuss and, you know, the way of adjusting it can be for the better.
Yeah, very much so. I want to keep. I want you to keep a record of what you eat. It doesn't have to be every day, but 5 days out of the week would be helpful. So next time we get together, we can see and make adjustments. Hopefully, anything that needs to be changed, we can just modify a little bit for you.
All right, I guess I should purchase a notebook, huh?
There won't be any need since I'm requesting a log from you. The secretary out in the front will give you a composition book. That way you can just keep it in your bag and take notes whenever you get
Oh, well, that makes things a lot easier for me. Thank you for that.
Yeah, definitely. You're welcome. Give me 1 second here. So I think we're pretty much done here. The receptionist out in front will ask you if you would like to schedule your follow-up appointment next month. I know it may seem like a hassle since your coach is the one asking you to come see me, but I think it's definitely something that you should consider.
Yeah, I mean, at first I was kind of resistant to it, but now I've actually gone with, I think I'll kind of enjoy them,
Right.
leading to it, like being healthier just overall throughout my whole life.
All right, great. Yeah, well, Mr. Ramirez, it was a pleasure, and I'm glad that we actually got to sit down and take this time to go over some of the health concepts that you were dealing with. Okay.
It's good to see you too.
And no problem. Thank you for coming. We'll see you next month.